Yes.
Okay. This is why I chose to invest. Now it's I've invested $5,000 into this girl because I was originally in a Instagram chat pod with this girl and a bunch of other yoga girls. And what we would do is we would do our posts and then we would say, I made my post in that chat pod, and we'd all go and comment on each other's posts. And so like 2 years ago, I was commenting on her posts. We were doing it to try to create more engagement on our page and things like that. And I saw her post and I was like, to me, it was like nothing. Like, I was like, whatever, like, I'm not even interested in this girl, but she had a lot of followers, but she didn't, she was like getting okay engagement on her page. And then she kind of we stopped doing that chat pod because we found out, I'm getting really hot, that it actually was negative towards your followers. We found out that if you went and you posted, one second, let me take my sweatshirt off. I'm like sweating now. Here's what I'm all about. All right. So, we actually, oh, shoot. I don't have this on. Can you hear me?
I actually can hear you a little bit.
You could hear me say, this is what I'm all about?
Yes.
Good vibes. All right. So I was in this chat pod. We were commenting on each other's posts. We found out that it wasn't helpful. So we stopped doing it and we all kind of dissolved the chat pod. And she stopped showing up on my feed for like over a year. Like, I just never even saw her, and she was completely out of my mind. And then all of a sudden she started popping up on my feed, and I'm like, her posting, like, she made $1.7 million last year in 12 months. $1.7 million. Mm-hmm. So she went from someone who, when I knew her, was making like $160K a year in her business to making $1.7 million.
Wow.
With no, and like no ads, all organically. And so I'm like, okay, I'm hooked in, like, let me see what this chick is about. And I started watching her stuff, and I started watching how she was talking about, like, it should be effortless and it should feel so amazing and so joyful. And a lot of the things that she talks about are beliefs that I have, like from shadow work, which is just energy. It's energy. It's all about energy instead of being about the physicality. It's more about energy and intuition and flow. And I was like very attracted to that. And I thought, let me just throw the 1,500. I have money. Like, I make money. It's not like it's not like it's going to make me broke to do that. Okay. It does a lot of money. I'm not saying it's not a lot to me. It is, but it's not to the point where it didn't affect me in any way, really. Like, it just made it so that I didn't put that into savings that month, really. Which is a great position for me to be in. Yeah. So when I did that, I was thinking about it and I was like, I don't know. I was like, just send me the link. And I just intuitively felt, I don't know why, but I need to do this. Like, I don't know if it's not her. It wasn't her. It wasn't, I need to do this for myself. Like, I need to make a move that says that I trust that if I put this $1,500 out there, that I'm going to receive something, and I don't know what it is, back from this experience. That this action that I'm taking, that is investing in myself, is going to result in positive progress in some way. And I really believed that. And I waited and I waited and I waited. And I was like, on the last day of 2020, I took an action of like making myself and my investing in myself my number one priority. And not just time and energy, because I already do that, but monetary, like that action of like that huge chunk, going out, was huge for me, was a big deal for me to do, because it's not something I do normally. It's not something that I just do often. So I sat in her classes, and I was like, if I'm going to invest $1,500, I'm going to do the thing, I'm going to take the action. And what it did was it showed me that I had space in my life to be able to do this training, which she's doing hour-long trainings, which I was like, I don't have space in my life for anything else. Like, I don't have any space. But when I wanted it, I made the space because I wanted to listen to it, because I invested in it. And then sitting there listening to her talk and being like, this, she has nothing on me. Like, not that I'm happy for her that she's created this amazing income for herself and her family, and she is doing a service. You know, she created this training, and the things that she was sharing were really impactful and strong and powerful. And but me watching her positioning herself as an expert when I know that I actually have more to offer and value to people was like this like switch went off in me, and I'm like, I don't believe in myself. It's not about what how I sell. It's not about the strategy. It's not about this. It's like, I don't know who I am. I don't know what my message is. I don't know who I help, and I don't know how I help them. And I don't believe, and the reason I don't know all those things is because I don't believe that I have value to offer the world. There's still this underlying story that, like, I'm not good enough. Okay. So when I was sitting there listening, and also the training was about money mindset. It was all about like overcoming your money story, which my money story has always been growing up. We never had enough. We never had enough money. Even, so I went to a career that was safe, that I make six figures. I've made six figures for a decade, but I did it in a way that it doesn't feel good to me. It's a job. It's not a passion. It's not a purpose. And now I'm focusing on creating my passion. So once I did that whole, like, her whole training, I was like, what's really important to me is investing in myself. Okay. Like, I get it. Like, investing in myself financially, time wise, energy. And I think that's what's important for every woman, is to invest in yourself. So what it did for me was that putting that money down, it didn't say like, I'm going to make that back I didn't think, oh, I'm going to make $1,555 back because I put it into her training. It just was an action of investing in myself and trusting that it was going to work out in a way that was going to be beneficial to me, and not having any attachment to like what she teaches me or like whatever, just doing it and investing my time into myself by listening to the trainings. And it got me really clear on my message, which is I teach women eager to evolve the power of investing in self to receive elevated outcomes in health, business, and life. And that's not going to be my brand forever. I already know that, but it is my brand right now. And I'm clear on that because it's something that I did for myself that helped me. I invested in myself, I evolved, and I leveled up and I elevated. And now the outcomes that I'm seeing in my life are elevated. So that's where I'm at in my life right now. That's my brand right now for me. And all of my messaging now, like every single post that I write, I'm thinking of that one sentence. Does this fit in that one sentence of what I do? I'm not thinking about how does this help me sell Beachbody. I'm not thinking about how does this help me bring it back around to like bod or nutrition, or I'm thinking about this is my message. How do I get it out? And people are going to be attracted to me for my message, and then they're going to sign up for whatever I'm offering because they're attracted to me because of my message. Does that make sense? So it's focusing more on me building my brand, like knowing what my message is, than me selling. And what it's done for me is it's lightened up all of my energy around selling. I don't have any attachment to selling. I'm not trying to sell. I'm not trying to be a Beachbody coach. I'm not trying to be a successful Beachbody coach. I'm not trying to make this much money with Beachbody. I'm not trying anything. I have a message to share that's important to me, that needs to get out. And through that, I'm going to attract women that want to grow with me through that message, through me sharing my authentic message. Okay. So that's why I recognize that branding, it's not just branding. It's not like, are my pictures pretty? Do they all have the same filter? Is my color and font the same? Because that's not branding. That's part of branding. That's part of it. But the majority of branding is one clear, concise, consistent message that comes through in every single post. It's the essence of who you are, and it's being shared. So what I think many of us do with the coaching industry, especially Beachbody, is we try to get in too many things. Like we're trying to share about nutrition and let me share about my workouts and let me share about this and let me share about that. And instead of getting it down to one sentence and then seeing if what you're posting fits into that one sentence, I'm doing it the opposite now. I'm not saying like, oh, I'm going to share like my fitness post today and I'm going to do a transformation Tuesday. No, I'm saying like, okay, usually I do a transformation Tuesday. How can I fit that into my brand? I don't say, how can I fit Beachbody into this? How can I fit this into my brand? Does that make sense? Is it? And my post, even, maybe people don't like what I posted because I asked her if it was okay if I shared her results. And I wrote, I don't know if you read it, but I'm just going to give you like for example, like normally I'd share a transformation Tuesday either of myself or a client on a Tuesday. And I asked Sydney because she had some good results and she posted them on her page already. So I was like, do you mind if I do like, share them on my page and give you like a shout out? And so in that I was writing and I'm like, okay, how can I fit this into my brand? So my message was we all have self-doubt at times. We are in fact humans, not robots. Investing time and energy into evolving is not about never doubting ourselves again, but rather growing through it and becoming the greatest expression of ourselves. I said no to coaching for 8 months, letting fear and doubt get the best of me. Thank God I eventually overcame and invested into it because it's what allowed me to support women in transforming their lives around the globe. Women like Sydney, who is self-motivated and independent, but still benefits from my coaching for the accountability piece and our community for the connection to other leveled up women it offers her. Imagine if I'd let self-doubt get the best of me, our amazingly supportive community wouldn't exist. Think about that next time you consider letting self-doubt hold you back from following your intuition and making a move to create something great in your life and the lives of others. And please go for it. Don't let doubts get the best of you. So it's about investing, right? It's like I've talked about investing in there multiple times, but it also ties into coaching. But when I initially wrote it, the investing piece wasn't in there. So I had to just tweak it a little bit to make it on point with my brand. So if you're not clear on that one sentence, it can't flow because it all stems from that. Like getting really clear. Like if you love nutrition, why? Why do you love nutrition? What is it about nutrition? And then when you get to that answer, why? Why do you love that? Why is that what is important to you? And then when you get to that answer, ask yourself why. Why is that? Because at the end of the day, what you're getting down to from just our conversation is you have a message to share and it gave you a voice. So you have to connect with women on that level. You need to attract women to you that have a message to share that are afraid to share it because of their insecurities. And that needs to be in your post every friggin' day, not once a week, not like a month ago I posted about it, not when I initially started. It needs to be clearly in coming across in your messaging every single day. So when you're writing your post, it's, does this fit into that one sentence? It's not how do I make Beachbody fit into this? It's how do I fit every single one of my posts into that one sentence? That's the important thing. Because being all over the place, for me, what I can share with you is that for my brand, I kept feeling like people really were attracted to me because I'm in shape. So they were attracted to me for the fitness side of things, the physical side of things. And whenever I would post things about the spiritual, the deeper things, it always, hands down, guaranteed gets less interaction, less engagement, less comments, less likes, less shares, less saves. But that's only because the audience that I attracted was attracted to me from a time that I was a fitness, a person, that person. And I'm not that person anymore. So if I won't let my brand and message evolve along with the person that is me that's evolving, then I'm holding myself back. I'm keeping myself stuck to, oh, it only works if I only works for me to attract people if I stick in this box that I was in before. But that's not making me happy. I don't want to be the fitness person anymore. Yeah, fitness is a part of my life. I like being fit. I like working out. I like doing obstacle course racing. I like being challenged, but it's really not my passion. And it's definitely not my purpose, is to help people get fit through exercise and nutrition. It's not. So for me, it was letting go of, how many likes am I getting on this post? How many comments am I getting on this post? How many shares? How many this? How many that? I have a message to share. Here is my message. If you want to like it, cool. If you don't, I don't give a crap, because this is me. This is me expressing my message that is unique to me and nobody else. But it can connect with certain women on a level and inspire them to want to elevate themselves, calibrate to my higher level coaching, which is deeper than workouts and nutrition. So I'm committed more to my brand than I am to selling. And when you get to that level, it feels better. It feels more fulfilling. It feels more joyful. If there's more creativity, there's more self-expression, there's less pressure. And it took me 10 years to get to the point where it took me 1 month to get here. Does that make sense? So it took me 10 years of being in this, really, all of that work that I did to get me to a place that finally it took me 1 month to get to here. And I will never, I can say this with clarity, I will never, with certainty, I should say, never go back to that place. Because what's important to me is my message. What's more important to me than anything else is my message to share. And it's reflecting in how people are responding to me. And if I don't sell 10 challenge packs this month because nobody connected with my brand, so be it. I don't care. Because I know that the results will come. I know that I'm going to attract the right people to me at the right time, and it's going to be the perfect union, and it's going to be beautiful, and it's going to lead to us creating amazing things together. So I encourage you, and I put some voice memos that I wanted to talk about tonight. So let me just listen to them really quick, because there were the things I wanted to cover, and I just voice memoed them to myself. But I need to remind myself of what they were. You have to get clear on that message before you can see the fireworks. Like, because it's never going to feel good to you if it's feeling like this pressure, this forced thing. Like, what do I say? How do I say it? What's going to get me more likes? Forget about the likes and comments and focus on your message. I can't stress it enough. And whatever you need to do to get to that place, whatever fun thing, whatever creative thing, whatever inspiring thing you need to do to get to that energetic state, that is going to take you farther in your business and your life and your health and your relationships than you trying to be whatever you think people want you to be.
Okay, so
all right.
The part that I liked a lot so far about in the Brendan Burchard show was,
Hold on 1 second.
If you can't sustain the message if you're not making the money, and you have to have branding in business, but if you could choose one over the other, he would choose business, because his initial things that he was sharing were
okay. You cannot sustain the message. This is going to go like counter to what I just was talking about. You cannot sustain the message if you're not making the money. And I was listening to a podcast today that was a part of my mindset and movement free community. And I thought it was awesome, because it's like, you can't continue to share the message if you're not making the money, right? That's true. So you got to make the money. It's got to come from somewhere. And it comes from branding and business, right? It comes from being in business and branding. And if it's choosing one over the other, you have to choose business, not branding. So it's not about, so branding in the sense of like making your pictures pretty and getting a lot of likes and doing the things that you think your audience is going to like. That is not that is not what I'm talking about when I'm talking about branding. Business is the message that you're sharing. That's your business, that's your integrity, that's what you stand for. And that is what ultimately is going to shine through and lead to, he said, like money being printed. Like money's being printed for this, right? So if he had to choose one, he would choose business over beautifying things. So it's the same thing as saying like, go where the things are working, not trying to be the certain, like fitting into this box that everyone is saying that you need to be fitting into. So get really clear on your message and what your business does for people, how you help people, who you help people, and forget about trying to make your pictures all pretty and seeing if it lines up on Instagram, and how be yourself.
They were printing money
Because
because they were doing their job.
when he initially started, he didn't have a lot of like beautifying things. He didn't know what he was doing. His images didn't look good, and it was still bringing in money because he was doing his job, which is he was sharing his message, he was creating content, and it was hitting people in a certain way. I hope that makes sense. All right, next thing
That's something to be able to share.
I wanted to share.
Double down on,
Okay.
I think he said 3 things that are bringing in the revenue. So if you're in a salaried job, double down on the activities that you're actually getting paid to do at that job. He noticed at one point
Okay, so double down on the activities that you know are bringing in the money. So if you are following a certain system and you're saying like, this is how people are enrolling with me, like double down on that. Double down, give more energy to the thing that is bringing in the money than other things that are being asked of you. And for example, if you're in a salaried position and you, like for me, for my CRNA work, how can I go double down? I'm not going to work more hours, you know? He said, focus on giving more. What do you actually get paid for at that job, and doubling down on the activities that actually get you paid for at that job. So for me, it would be like, I thought about it and I'm like, okay, for anesthesia, that means me just going above and beyond with my care, with my anesthetic care of my patients, talking to them and how I make them feel comfortable, and, you know, making sure that I'm really paying close attention to monitoring them during the surgery and all those things, because action, like you taking that action, is creative, and it is going to attract more results into your life that you want to create, more outcomes that are positive than if you're just half-assing stuff. Like if it's double downing on being a mom, then it's double downing on like the activities that that position puts you in on the daily, and putting all of your energy into being the best in that moment of whatever it is that's, you know, seeking your attention. Because there's a huge for me, energetic component in action, and taking action and following through on your actions. It's energy. It's all energy. So for him, everything was moving towards online, which he wasn't very good at it. It was like 2009. But he started doubling down on that because that's where the world was going. That's where people wanted to be able to, he wanted to be a speaker where he would go and speak at events and, you know, sell out stadiums and stuff. And what he realized was people didn't want that anymore. They wanted to be able to they wanted to be able to purchase things and be able to play them from any device, anywhere, at any time. So he started doubling down, and that's where his business really started to take off.
Encourage them to build in time to do creativity projects, because that's what's going to bring them more joy in their life.
Okay.
Don't let them think that that's a waste of their time, because it's actually going to infuse the energy of that into everything else that they're doing.
So now I'm going to totally like wipe my butt of that I just shared with you and be like completely opposite of that. And I'm going to tell you to build in time in your week to do things that are creative, that bring you joy, like creative things. Like if you're wanting to create a PDF, or you're wanting to create like some content for like that you're going to sell like on the side of Beachbody, or you want to put time and energy into creating like some certain content for your challenge group, or some certain welcome letter, or some certain getting coaches started right system, whatever it is, like, or if it's just art, and it has nothing to do with Beachbody, but build in time of your day, of your week, to do things that you just do to be creative, because that is going to bring you joy. That's going to take you out of that masculine, like, how do I in your head, thinking of like, how do you get the results? And, always trying to like strategize like these certain ways. And it's going to bring you joy. It's going to make you happier. And that's going to infuse into everything else you're doing. So this wasn't anything that Brendan said because he's a man, and it's not something that they teach. This is something that I feel, because in my life, every day, I either go to the beach or I sit outside. I spend time with my animals. I put my phone aside. I leave it inside when I'm with my animals. When I'm at the beach and if I'm walking there or I'm running there, I'm not checking it. I'm disconnected from it. And then maybe when I'm there, I do a little video or I take a little clip or whatever of the beach, but I'm doing things that bring me joy, connecting with nature. I picked up my guitar. I started playing my guitar again, and I do like 20 minutes or whatever. I just sit there and I'm trying to relearn this song that I knew. And those things don't do anything for my business, but they do so much for me as a person, that in the end, they really do everything for my business. They do a lot of things for my business, because if I'm just thinking of myself as this thing that is here, that's this body that's just supposed to produce money and build a business and be a provider and create, things that produce, then that's negative energy. If that's just all I'm here for, if I'm not here to create and to have fun and to feel joy and to have experiences just because, not because they do anything, but because they just make me happy, then it's, what am I doing with my life? And there's been a time when I've been so addicted to my business that all I could think about was, could not stop thinking about Beachbody, and I was breathing, living, eating, sleeping Beachbody, and I made 6 figures, sweet, but it felt so shitty, because all I did was just build something that was sucking the life out of me, which is what I did as a CRNA, and I just repeated it with Beachbody, and I will not do that again. I will not build a business that feels to me so life-sucking. It has to feel joyful and happy and aligned with the person that I want to become. So that's why it's really important also to get clear on your message, because if you're just trying to sell Beachbody, you're never going to sell Beachbody. You might, and you might succeed at it, and you might make, $1,500 a month or $12,000 a month, but you're not going to feel happy about it. You're not going to ever be fulfilled in that way.
Invest in yourself, and then in the market.
This was his
in the team, and then in the operations.
Okay. Here was the final message that he was sharing on this podcast, which was just my inspiration, which is why I was like, I need to talk about something on the team call. I want to talk about strategy. Invest in yourself, then in the market, then in your team, then in operations. So many people have it way backwards. It's like, oh, I invest in my business, in operations. That's like writing my posts and building my brand and and then I invest in maybe a little bit in myself, and then maybe I do a little bit in my team, and then, oh, I don't even know how I can even invest in the market. But that is never going to yield the results that you want and the outcomes that you want to have, because first of all, we all know that investing in yourself has to be number one, because if you really want to grow a strong, successful business that is powerful and impactful to other people, you have to grow into the greatest expression of who you are. And the only way you can do that is by investing time, energy, and money into yourself. I wrote something.
You have to invest in yourself in order to get into the highest level of self-mastery, whatever that means for you.
Self-mastery.
If you won't invest in yourself, there is no way other people will invest.
And if you won't invest in yourself, how are you going to expect other people to invest in you? It's like, there's a certain degree of level that you're comfortable with. Go just above it. Go just above where you're comfortable with investing in yourself. Because for me, $1,500 was something that really, it was like, it wasn't going to make or break me, but it was something that was a little outside of my comfort zone. It wasn't like, oh, it's just like pennies, but it was like, but it wasn't going to, like I wasn't going to die or anything, but it was a stretch. And that was huge for me to do that, to say yes to investing.
You don't invest in yourself.
And another thing that did for me is that if I ever, like with Beachbody, it's like, I don't even go to the $160 challenge pack. I tell people it's $367. I send them a challenge pack with Beachbody On Demand, VIP digital unlock of the newest program, Shakeology for a month, pre-workout for a month, post-workout for a month, and 3 boxes of bars. That's the package that I sell, and I don't feel any way about it. And then if they want to go down from there, cool. But I'm not going to start with the 160 package because, I think they might not want to spend the money, because here at the end of the day, I don't have to decide if they want to spend the money. I just have to tell them, this is what I use. This is what works for me. I love this stuff. You want the results that I have? This is what I use. Here you go. You don't need it all, but it's up to you. I mean, you can, it helps me. I like it all for one reason or another. I don't feel even a little bit like attached, number one, to them answering and saying yes, or number two, like that's too much money to ask for. Not even one little bit. Not one little bit, because I just dropped $1,500 on myself. So if someone wants to be coached by me, so I just paid $1,500 to be coached by a woman who I think I have more to offer in value. So if you want to be coached by me and you aren't willing to invest $370, then see ya, peace. Like, I'm going to find lots of other people that will be. And I know that for a fact. So it wasn't just like the action of investing in myself made me feel confident sharing that number and not feeling like, oh no, it's too much money. And one day when I start selling my own programs and I ask women to invest $1,500 into me, I'm not going to feel any particular way about it, because I know how I felt when I did it. And the only way that I could feel that way when I did it is if I did it. If I just thought about doing it or considered doing it or thought what it would have felt like to maybe do it, I would not have had the experience of doing it and experiencing it and knowing what it felt like for me, and knowing that I could ask that of other women and not feel bad about it, and know that what I'm offering them is going to be valuable enough for me to ask for that price. And if you just invest in the other things and not in yourself, then it also makes you stop looking at the bigger picture, like the long term, and it just makes you think about this immediate gratification. You start getting like zeroed in on like what's going on right now. Whereas when you're investing that time and energy and money into yourself, it expands your view into always looking at the bigger picture and what you're going to create in the long term, not in the short term. And then investing into, I've always believed in this. This has nothing to do. Honestly, I was laughing because I'm like, oh my gosh, so many things he's saying. Like, I already do. I actually it was Danny Johnson. It was I think it was her first seminar, First Steps to Success, or it might've been somebody that I read a book before her. So I've always had money in savings. I've always been someone who had a certain amount of money in savings, whether it was like 30 grand, 50 grand. I've always made money. I've not had a family. I've not had kids. So I've always had like this nest egg that was there in case for, savings, in case emergency funds, something would happen. But I was always good at that. But then I went to a seminar where they said, pay yourself first. And I thought, like, pay yourself first, meaning don't wait until the end of the month when all the bills are paid and say, is there anything left for me? But instead, take $10, $15, $50, $100, $150, $300 out of your checks to go into, retirement funds, or to go into, a savings account. I mean, savings accounts are not really good because of inflation. It actually is like you lose money if you have more money in a savings account, but it's okay if you have a little bit of money in the savings account. There's nothing wrong with that. You can do bonds, you can do stocks, you can do a 401k, you can do a self-employed 401k, you can do an IRA, a Roth IRA. You can put $6,000 a year. Take your $100 or your $10 a day or a week or a month and make it automatically go in there. Cause I guarantee you, I will guarantee you that you're not going to miss it. But if you wait until the end of the month to do it, you will never do it. I know this from my own experience. And here's what I'm going to tell you about that. I did that. I was in nursing and I was making, $50,000 a year or whatever as a nurse. And I used to put 10% of my income a week into my retirement fund. I didn't even didn't notice it was gone. I lived on the rest of the money, which I don't know how much I was, $50,000 a year. How much are you making? $1,000 a week around. So I was putting like $100 a week. So $400 a month. And I just put it in there. I put it in my 401k and I put it into like this index fund or whatever. It's like, it just kind of spreads it out over a bunch of different funds. It does it for you. So I wouldn't have to think about it or look at it or know anything about it. And because of that, I actually looked because I was just like, I was curious because I was going through this money thing. And I'm going to share with you guys that I have 200 grand in retirement that I didn't even know. Like, I was like, I don't know. I was like, I was probably 30 grand, maybe 40. I don't know. Maybe 80 was like the most I said. I have 200 in a retirement fund from me just paying myself first. And so I'm not just sharing things from like, I'm sharing that because I'm not just sharing things from a conceptual, like, this is what you need to do. I am sharing it from my experience, from what I do. And I could have easily been like, oh, like I can't put that money into savings because I have this trip that I need to take and I have this that I'm going to do and I have this that I want to and that and this and whatever. And I never would have done it. But because it just automatically came out, I didn't know it. I wasn't living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, but if it's $5, like just do it because it's the action, it's the energy behind you saying, look at what I'm doing for myself. That's so progressive with the outcomes that you create in your life. It's the energy behind the action that you take that creates the elevated outcomes. It's the mindset of this is going to work out. I'm going to start doing this instead of I can't because of XYZ. It's a mindset. It's a shift that also shifts every other thing. It all freaking matters and it all is important and it's all interconnected. It's all part of it. So whatever amount you're comfortable with, okay, do that. And then lastly,
handling the stress.
a lot of times we will invest a lot more into operations of the business. Like, okay, so I'm going to invest like into this tracker or something, like $600 into me tracking my customers, like how I'm going to track my customers versus I'm going to invest XYZ money per week to hire an assistant to do things that I don't need to do data entry, to schedule posts in my community. Because you hiring someone into your, like having an assistant, I couldn't operate my business without an assistant. I couldn't. I think about it. I'm like, oh my God, I hope she sticks around because if she's not, I have to go find one right away because I need one because I couldn't do the stuff that she does. And it's not even that many hours. It's just like boring and I don't want to do it and I don't need to do it. And I can pay my assistant $12.50 an hour to do things. And then I can free my time up to do the things that only I can do. Okay. I'm so very grateful for her. So invest into your team over investing into your business because the team is going to take you farther being connected with other people and having that relationship and having people working towards a common goal than trying to invest into something that is not a person, is not a human. So I'm not saying that those investments are wrong or incorrect, but just do more of, or do that first into getting your A team before you invest into the operations side of things. that is it. Okay. That's all I have for tonight. Any questions or shares? Okay, then. I think I've given you a lot to think about. Melissa, you're like, the gears are turning. Take that and get it down here. Get it in here, because you have all the tools and all the things that are needed to be successful with this, but you're here and you're not here. And imagine if that's how you are in your marriage, and that's how you are with your children, and that's how you are in your relationships with your family. They don't work, and your business isn't going to work in that way either. So it needs to come from a heart-centered place, and however you have to get there, that's the most important thing for you to do right now. And Lisa, you are doing great. So just keep doing what you're doing. Keep, getting more clear on who you are and who you want to attract, and just keep flowing. And then you're going to hit points where you're going to be like, okay, I'm ready for the next, level of my evolution. And that's what this, I've signed up to be a coach a decade ago. And the person that I was when I started is not the person that I am now. Thank God. And what I understand now is, not only have I made multiple six figures with Beachbody, I've made, I don't know how much I could look, and I could tell you guys if you want to know, but it's a lot. Of course, it depends on each person's individual skill, diligence, all that. Insert disclaimer here, but it isn't that is the greatest. It isn't that's the greatest benefit that I've received from Beachbody. It's that I have grown into the greatest expression of myself that I could possibly never even have imagined that I could be when I started. Never even imagined. So it was actually the process. Like, I look back and I see, wow, all those things that I did were so important, even if I didn't think they were. Even if I thought that I was having a setback, I was actually moving forward because I was growing into this person, into who I am today, who feels extremely authentic, in love with myself, in love with the life that I've created. And it's not just words that I'm saying to look at me, like I'm this person. That it's reality. It's the reality of my life. I look at my life and I'm like, fuck, like this is my life. This is fucking awesome. I don't have to work every day away from the home. I don't have to be like in the operating room 40 plus hours a week. I get to do this. I get to work with women. I get to share my message on social media and build this brand and express myself and like see if people connect with it and see what works and see what doesn't, and play this game and have fun and grow through it all. That's more benefit that I'm receiving than any of the financials any day. Even though it's important, I understand we're in this because we want to make money, but that is, if you will fall in love with the process of becoming more of who you are, getting really clear on who you are and what your message is, your unique message that you want to share with the world, and attracting people who have that desire to go with you on that journey of that same message, that's going to do more for you in your life, in your relationships, in your finances, in every single way, than if you're trying to like stiff arm it into happening. Because you're okay, let me reverse engineer my $1,400 a month that I want to make. Let me reverse engineer that. I need to sell this many challenge packs. I need to have, no. Figure out who you are. Figure out what your message is. Figure out who you help. Figure out how you help them. Get really clear, get concise, niche yourself down, and realize that you're important because you have that message to share, and then keep sharing it. And eventually you're going to attract the people to you. Of course, you need to have the strategy. Yes, I get it. But a big part of it is the energy. And I didn't realize that until now, because I was constantly like, oh, I got to teach people more strategy. No, they weren't getting anywhere with the strategy I was teaching them because they didn't believe in themselves. It's like, okay, here's all the strategy. Okay, let me go do more of things that I don't believe are going to work for me. It's like, no, you're going to get nowhere. And you know what? I will have to say thank you, Lisa, because honestly, like doing the one-on-ones, it's been a while since I've done that, but connecting with you and doing the one-on-ones made me realize I'm like, dude, like you have all the tools. You don't need more tools. You just need belief. And you're getting it. All right, I'm done on my soapbox. Thanks for coming on the team call since it's like just 3 of us every week now. It's hilarious. What a big team we are. But you know what? I'm still showing up, and I'm still showing up loud and proud, and I'm going to continue to show up for you and for my future team. So, all right, ladies, have a great evening. I hope it was helpful. Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome. See ya.